Welcome to Sagacious Delights. Today, we're stepping into a magical version of the classic tale, Little Red Riding Hood. Come. Let's begin. In a charming village nestled between rolling hills and a vast, enchanted forest, lived a lively girl named Lila, though everyone called her Little Red Riding Hood. She was always seen in the red cloak her grandmother had lovingly sewn for her, a cloak that made her feel brave and special. Lila was known for her curiosity and kind heart. She loved exploring the meadows and streams near her village, but her greatest curiosity was about the mysterious forest that lay just beyond her home. She had heard stories of magical creatures and ancient secrets hidden within its depths. One morning, as the sun cast a golden glow over the village, Lila's mother called her into the kitchen.
Lila, your grandmother isn't feeling well. I've prepared a basket with bread, honey, and herbal tea, her favorites. I need you to take it to her. But remember, the forest is full of both wonders and dangers. Stay on the path, and don't talk to strangers.
Lila nodded, her mother's words echoing in her mind. Before she left, her mother handed her a small, silver pendant shaped like a leaf.
This was given to me by a forest fairy when I was your age. It's said to protect the wearer and guide them in times of need.
Lila marveled at the pendant, feeling a sense of calm wash over her. With the basket in hand, she set off down the path that led into the heart of the enchanted forest. As Lila entered the forest, she felt the world change around her. The trees seemed taller, their leaves shimmering as if touched by magic. Sunlight filtered through the branches, creating a dance of light and shadow on the forest floor. The air was filled with the scent of pine and wildflowers, and Lila felt both excited and a little uneasy. As she walked, she noticed the silver pendant began to glow faintly, casting a soft, warm light. Suddenly, a tiny figure appeared before her, hovering just above the path. It was a fairy, no taller than a hand, with delicate wings that sparkled like dew in the morning sun. Her hair was the color of autumn leaves, and her eyes glimmered with wisdom. "Greetings, Little Red Riding Hood," the fairy said in a voice that was like the tinkling of bells.
I am Celine, guardian of this forest. Your mother has told me much about you.
A fairy? Are you really here to help me?
Yes, Lila. The forest is a place of beauty, but also of danger. I am here to guide you and offer advice. But remember, the choices you make are still your own.
Lila nodded, feeling reassured by the fairy's presence. She continued on her way, now more aware of her surroundings. As Lila walked deeper into the forest, she noticed a figure watching her from the shadows. It was the wolf, a creature with sleek, dark fur and eyes that gleamed with cunning. He was no ordinary wolf, he was ancient, clever, and knew the ways of the forest better than anyone. The wolf stepped out from the underbrush, his voice smooth and enticing.
Good morning, little one. Where are you off to in such a hurry?
Lila hesitated, recalling her mother's warning, but the wolf's voice was strangely comforting.
I'm visiting my grandmother. She lives at the end of the path, just beyond the old mill.
How kind of you. But wouldn't your grandmother love some fresh wildflowers? The best ones grow in the meadow by the river, just a little off the path.
As Lila considered the wolf's suggestion, the pendant around her neck began to glow brighter, and Celine appeared again by her side.
Beware of this stranger, Lila. Not everything in the forest is as it seems. Stay on the path, as your mother told you.
But Lila, drawn by the wolf's words and the thought of bringing extra joy to her grandmother, allowed her curiosity to get the better of her.
Just a few flowers won't hurt.
As Lila wandered deeper into the meadow, gathering flowers, the wolf swiftly made his way to her grandmother's house. He moved with stealth, knowing every shortcut and hidden trail. When he arrived, he knocked on the door, disguising his voice to sound like Lila.
Who is there?
It's me, Lila, Little Red Riding Hood. I've brought you some treats, grandmother.
The grandmother, not suspecting anything, invited her in. But as soon as she opened the door, the wolf pounced. Celine, who had been watching over Lila, sensed the danger and quickly flew to the grandmother's side. She cast a protective spell, causing the grandmother to vanish just before the wolf could devour her. The wolf, thinking he had succeeded, put on the grandmother's clothes and waited in bed for Lila's arrival. Meanwhile, Celine, now invisible, guided the grandmother safely into a hidden part of the forest, where she would be safe until the danger passed. Lila, now with a bouquet of wildflowers, hurried back to the path, feeling a strange unease. As she approached her grandmother's house, the forest seemed quieter than before. The trees, once welcoming, now loomed like silent sentinels. When Lila entered the house, she immediately noticed something was wrong. The air felt heavy, and the room was dim despite the sunlight outside. Her grandmother was lying in bed, but something about her seemed different.
Grandmother, I'm here.
Come closer, my dear.
Wolf said this trying to maintain his disguise, but his voice was laced with a growl that made Lila's heart race. Lila approached cautiously, noticing how her grandmother's appearance seemed oddly distorted.
Grandmother, what big ears you have.
All the better to hear you with, my dear.
But grandmother, what big teeth you have.
All the better to eat you with.
Just as the wolf was about to strike, Celine, who had been watching from the shadows, revealed herself. She flew in front of Lila, her wings shimmering with a brilliant light.
Not so fast, foul creature.
A blinding flash of light forced the wolf to recoil. Lila stumbled back, stunned by the sudden turn of events. But before the wolf could recover, the door burst open, and the woodcutter, who had been alerted by the fairy's magic, rushed in with his axe raised high. The wolf, disoriented and blinded by the light, turned to face this new threat. But the woodcutter, guided by the fairy's light, swung his axe with precision, driving the wolf back. With a howl of defeat, the wolf fled into the forest, disappearing into the shadows from which he came.
You are safe now, but remember, Lila, not all who seem kind are truly so. You have a good heart, but wisdom and caution must guide it.
Thank you, Celine. I didn't understand before, but now I do.
Celine smiled, and with a wave of her hand, the grandmother reappeared, safe and unharmed. Lila and her grandmother embraced tightly, their bond stronger than ever. As they prepared to leave, the woodcutter offered to walk them back to the village. Celine, now a small glowing orb of light, hovered above them, casting a gentle glow as they made their way home. The forest, which had seemed so ominous, now felt peaceful again. The birds resumed their singing, and the trees swayed gently in the breeze. Lila held her grandmother's hand tightly, the pendant around her neck now a cherished symbol of the day's lessons. When they reached the village, Lila's mother ran out to greet them, her face a mixture of relief and joy. Lila hugged her tightly, feeling a deep sense of safety and love. From that day on, Lila was known not just for her red cloak, but for her bravery, wisdom, and the magical fairy who had guided her through the darkest of woods. And so, Little Red Riding Hood learned that while the world is full of wonders, it is also full of challenges that require both courage and wisdom. Thank you for joining us on this magical journey. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more enchanting tales from Sagacious Delights. Stay tuned, see you next time.